Hi guys, it's me Anna again. Today I wanted to present to you a case that was so frustrating for me, and I'm a big fan of this person still, the victim of this case. But I remember I told you in the first video that I will cover like Russian or Ukrainian cases, but this is not the case here. This is the case about Selena. I'm sure you've heard about her a lot, I think every one of you, but this was an amazing person and she had a huge future in front of her, but it never happened, unfortunately. Selena was born on April 16th, 1971 in Lake Jackson, Texas. She has had a sister and a brother. Her father, Abraham Quintanilla, was a former musician himself, and he created a band with Selena, with her sister and brother. So Selena, she was speaking English at first. It was an English-speaking family, and then her father decided to teach her to sing in Spanish. So first she was just phonetically, singing in Spanish, and after that, really shortly after that, she started to speak in Spanish. So she began performing as a child. When she was 10, Selena became a lead singer in their band called Selena y los Dinos. This band, Selena and Los Dinos, started to play on weddings and clubs all around Texas. Her brother Abraham, he was playing a bass guitar, and her sister Suzette was playing on drums. So her career really grew and grew very fast because she was such a nice kid. She was such a nice woman to become, and she was always smiling. She was the sun in the whole room, she was lighting up the room each time that she was entering it. Everybody loved her so much. So, not surprisingly, in 1993, she was already a solo artist, and she won a Grammy for Best Mexican American Album for her album Life. After that, she met her future husband. His name was Chris Paris, and they started to date secretly from everybody, and he became a lead guitarist. That's how they met. He was a lead guitarist in their band. Shortly after, in 1992, they got married, and they've been together for 3 years, almost 3 years, before she died. Now, how she died? She was murdered, shot by her former president of her fan club, and also she was manager of the boutiques that Selena opened before, called Selena etc. The name of this person was Yolanda Saldivar. Saldivar was always obsessed with Selena, so she was trying to create this fan club that she really wanted to run. So finally she got to Selena and she opened up this fan club, and afterwards, when she started to work as a manager of the boutiques, she decided to move closer to Selena. So she moved from South San Antonio to Corpus Christi for that, to be closer to her. Her room was covered with Selena's banners, posters, burning votive candles, a huge collection of video recordings of Selena that Saldivar was playing to entertain her guests. Now, she was authorized to enter all the bank accounts, cashing checks, everything that came to bank accounts about boutiques and fan clubs. She was able to enter it with no problem. In January 1995, Selena's dad, Abraham Quintanilla, began receiving telephone calls and messages from fans that sent money to the fan club membership, and they didn't get anything in return. So he began to look into these complaints, and he realized that Saldivar had embezzled $60,000 from the fan club and the boutiques using forged checks. So after Quintanilla's family confronted Yolanda Saldivar about this situation, that they know that she did it, she decided to buy a gun, and she called Selena to come to her motel room in Days Inn, and she shot her to death. So Selena died shortly after because of loss of blood and cardiac arrest. Now, Abraham Quintanilla, he said that actually Yolanda had 4 attempts to kill Selena. So the first attempt happened when Saldivar was banned from contacting Selena. Selena's father, Quintanilla Jr., he drove to Q Production to find Saldivar and tell her that she is not welcome there anymore. So because of that, the same day, Selena and Yolanda argued by the phone, and Selena after that hung up, and she told her husband Chris Paris that she cannot really trust her anymore. She cannot trust Yolanda anymore. So Selena removed Saldivar from bank accounts on March 10th, 1995. And Yolanda was removed from her job by Irina Herrera. Now, Saldivar decided to go and buy a gun at a place to shoot, which was a shop and a shooting range in San Antonio. So she bought Taurus Model 85 snub-nosed 38 caliber revolver and 38 caliber hollow point bullets. So these bullets were designed to cause more extensive injuries than normal bullets. So she really had this need to kill Selena right away. So when the clerk asked her, like, why do you need the gun? Why do you want to buy the gun? She said that she's a nurse, and the relatives of her patient are threatening her. So clerk believed her, and he sold her this gun. So on March 13th, Saldivar went to her lawyer, and she decided to do a resignation. So Abraham, Selena's dad, he thinks that she was trying to do that to get some alibi for herself. So it was her first attempt to kill Selena. Yolanda decided to go to the motel called Sand and Sea Motel. And that day, on 13th of March, Selena was in Miami, Florida. So Yolanda waited till the next day and she contacted Selena. So she called her and she said that she wants to meet her. She wants to meet Selena. And she asked her to meet because there was too much traffic. She said, I want to meet with you at the parking lot 25 miles away from Corpus Christi, where Selena lived. When Selena arrived to this place, to the parking lot, Selena said, look, if you want, you can still run business in Mexico. It made Saldivar calm down. Selena explained later to her family that she just wanted to keep Saldivar for a business in Mexico because she was looking already for a replacement for her. So Saldivar decided to go back to the shop and return the gun. Now on March 26th, 1995, Saldivar stole a perfume sample from Selena in Mexico. Saldivar accompanied Selena to her trip to Tennessee while Selena was recording her crossover album. And on their way back, Selena said that there was some bank statements missing, and she knew that Saldivar stole it. So she asked her to return them shortly. So after that, Saldivar repurchased the gun on the March 27th, and she asked Selena to meet her at her motel room. So this was her second attempt to kill her. Because she was such a huge star already, news really spread very fast. So as soon as Selena arrived to this motel, there was so much fans around, and Abraham, her father, he said that probably they saved her life that day because Saldivar just couldn't kill her in front of all those people. The third attempt to kill Selena was on the last week of March. So Dr. Martinez received a phone call from Saldivar crying hysterically, saying that she was raped on March 29th in Mexico. So he decided that he will send some of his employees to her motel room to check on her. Now, when this employee came to her motel room, she already left, a few minutes before that. On March 30th, Saldivar returned from her trip to Monterey, and she checked into the motel called Days Inn. She contacted Selena this time, and she said that she was raped. And according to Abraham, Selena's father, this was the last message that they received from Saldivar. He believed that this claim, it was her planned alibi. So Saldivar on this phone call asked Selena to come to her motel room alone, but Selena's husband Chris decided to accompany her there just in case, because he felt something was wrong with this person. Now, when they arrived, Selena went to Yolanda's room alone, but Chris was waiting for her outside next to their car. And on their way back, Selena realized that Yolanda didn't give her right documents that she asked for. So she tried to contact her, but Yolanda already was on her way to call Selena. Now, she was crying on the phone and she said, I've been raped, you need to help me, I'm bleeding a lot, I don't know what to do, please come back alone. And Chris said, no, it's too late to come back there and I don't want you to go there alone. So on the 31st of March 1995 at 7:30 a.m. Selena left to go and see Yolanda to take her to the hospital, and also to take the right bank statements that she asked Yolanda for. And also to take back the perfume samples that Selena knew was stolen from her by Yolanda. So upon arrival to the hospital that day, doctors noticed that Yolanda had clear symptoms of depression. Also, Yolanda said to the doctors that she bled just a little, which was very surprising to Selena, and she was very angry, saying like, hold on, yesterday you told me that you were bleeding a lot and you were like dying, and now you said you bled just a little bit. Now, a nurse at the hospital told Yolanda that she has to travel to San Antonio for examination because she was from that place. So they were not really allowed to check her fully at that hospital in Corpus Christi. While driving back to the motel, Selena told Saldivar that they are better stay apart from each other. It's not working, so there is no point to work together anymore. At 10 a.m. the same day, Abraham Quintanilla contacted Chris Paris to ask where Selena is, because she was supposed to come for a recording session for her new album. So Paris tried to call Selena, and finally she answered, and she said that she just forgot about the session, so she will be there. She will solve the last business problem, like she said, and she will be back shortly after. This was the last time anybody heard her voice on the phone from her family. And this was the last time that Chris Paris heard the voice of his own wife. When Saldivar and Selena came back to the motel room, they started arguing, and the guests from the motel, they were complaining about the loud noises of two women who were arguing so loud about some business problems. So Selena said that she wants to break off all their connections, and she just asked her to give back the documents. She kind of threw the documents that Yolanda gave her the day before, and she said, here we go, give me the real documents. And that at that moment she saw the gun. She tried to run away from the motel room, but Saldivar took a gun and she shot Selena in her back. At 11:48 a.m., Saldivar shot Selena in the right lower back. The bullet went through her artery and it caused a big blood loss. Selena started to run to the lobby. She was leaving a trail of blood behind her. She was screaming, help me, please help me, she's gonna shoot me again. And Saldivar was following her for a minute, and she was screaming at her, bitch, bitch, you bitch. So after like a minute, even less, Saldivar came back to her room, and she was very calm. So when Selena got to the lobby, she just collapsed straight away at 11:49 a.m. And the staff of the motel, they tried to stop the blood, stop her bleeding, but it didn't really work. It wasn't working. And the thing that she could say was Yolanda Saldivar. It was her 158, which was the number of her room of Yolanda. Right away, a manager from the motel, she called the emergency services. Ambulance came right away after only 1 minute and 55 seconds. They tried to massage her heart, they tried to put an IV needle in her vein, but they couldn't even find her vein because the veins were almost empty. Her clothes were soaked in blood, in the front and in the back. They saw that the blood was from her neck down to her knees, so she was bleeding too much. So they decided to take her to the hospital, which was Corpus Christi Memorial Hospital. They tried to revive her, but her heart was beating lower and lower and lower. They tried to do anything possible to help her, to keep her alive. It didn't work. So at 1:05 p.m., 31st of March 1995, Selena Quintanilla Perez was pronounced dead due to blood loss and cardiac arrest. During the third hour after the shooting, the autopsy was performed, and it said that the bullet had entered Selena's upper right back near her shoulder blade, passed through her chest cavity, severed the right subclavian artery, and exited her right upper chest. So it took actually minutes for Selena to bleed so much that she couldn't have been revived anymore. And the doctor said that if the bullet would go a millimeter lower or higher, she would have more chances to stay alive. So right after the shooting, Saldivar decided to go away from the motel. So she entered her truck, red truck, and she was having something wrapped in the towel, which later was seen that it was a gun that she used to kill Selena. So she tried to flee away from the scene of the murder, and Abraham Quintanilla was saying that he thinks that she was going to Q Production to kill him. The police officer that was just right next to this motel Days Inn, he responded to a report about what happened, and he left his vehicle and he pointed a gun at the truck at the parking lot while she was driving towards him, and he said to get out from the truck, which she didn't do. She decided to back up, and she parked the truck behind two other cars. She pointed a gun next to her head, and she just started to panic. She started to cry, and she said that she was going to kill herself. A SWAT team and FBI crisis negotiation unit were brought in. After the standoff of 4 hours already of her being in the truck, the negotiator Valencia succeeded in getting Saldivar to confess that she was trying to kill herself and not Selena, which was not true, of course, but he had to make her believe that this is what happened just to get her out from the car. So she said, yes, this is what happened. I tried to kill myself, but then when Selena tried to go out, I told her to close the door, and I pointed a gun at the door and it went off. Which is not possible, because as a detective said afterwards, that for a gun to go off, you have to put at least 11 pounds of pressure at the trigger for it to go off. So it was not possible for a gun to just shoot by itself. But for this kind of situation, this is what they needed for her to believe that yes, it was not her fault and she's innocent. So during the 6th hour of negotiation, Saldivar agreed to give herself up and get out from the car. And as soon as she saw a soldier pointing a shotgun at her, she went straight back to her truck and took a gun again and put it to her head. And after another 3 hours, which was more than 9 hours fully of negotiation, she agreed to go out. So later on, she was charged with a first-degree murder of Selena Quintanilla Perez, and she was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 30 years, which is gonna be in 2025, very soon. But I don't really think that she will be able to get out from the prison. Her story, because I saw 2 interviews of Yolanda. First interview, she didn't really give any information at all. She was saying that I will not give any comments. I will not give any comments, no comments to any question that the interviewer was asking her. But at the second interview, she said that her story was that Selena came to her motel room, and she begged her to come back. She said, I cannot work without you, I cannot be without you, please come back, please come back. And she fell into the feet of Yolanda, and she was, just holding her and saying, no, please don't leave me. And then Yolanda decided to take the gun, and she pointed it into her head, and she said, Selena, leave, it's not gonna work, it's over, please leave. And Selena just wouldn't do that, and she said, if you will not leave, I'll shoot myself. And then when Selena said, wait a minute, I'll just close the door and we will talk. So Yolanda pointed a gun at the door, and she said, don't do it, just leave. And then the gun went off. This is her story, which really matches with the negotiator story. So she really believed in that, and now it's her explanation why it happened. So she was saying that I would never kill my best friend, I would never do that, I loved her so much, she meant so much to me. But why would you do that to your best friend? Anyway, my opinion about it, I don't believe her, of course, eventually. And I think that she has to stay in prison forever. There is so much hatred around her of fans of Selena that lost their idol because of this incident. And her family, just imagine what her family went through and are going through till this day. Her husband, everyone that loved her so much. And this person, Yolanda Saldivar, she was just obsessed. She was obsessed with Selena. Having all these banners in her room, having all her records and all of that. It was really her obsession, and a big one, and not a healthy one. So at the day of Selena's murder, all the major television networks, they stopped their programming to break the news about what happened to her. The Latino community was deeply affected by the loss of this amazing, sunny person who was just 23 years old. They were traveling 1,000 miles just to get to her home, to pray for her, and just to, feel closer to her. They were going to the scene of the murder. They were going anywhere that she was, and they were just crying, and they were devastated because of this news. On April 12, 1995, 2 weeks after Selena's death, then at that time, Texas Governor George W. Bush declared her birthday as a Selena Day in Texas. In October of 1995, Yolanda Saldivar was convicted of first-degree murder of Selena Quintanilla Paris. And that day, it was the best day of Selena's friends since she's been gone. They were cheering on the streets, they were playing her music. It was like a holiday. In 2002, under the judge order, the gun that was used to kill Selena was destroyed, and it was thrown to the Corpus Christi Bay. So fans and historians didn't really agree with this decision, because they said that it was better just to put this gun into the museum of Selena, which really would have made sense more, but what's done, that's done, right? 2 years after Selena's death, in 1997, a movie was released called Selena. And the main role was played by Jennifer Lopez, and actually that's how I discovered Selena myself. I saw this movie and I cried, of course, and each time I see this movie I cry every time. So I decided to dig deeper, to see how she was like and what she was living and all that, and I was really fascinated by this story, so I decided to cover this case here because it feels really important to me, because there is so much fans all around the world that love her and that are still devastated, because this is what happened to a very young, bright, sunny, shiny person that everybody loved, and her life was just cut off just like that because of the stupid person that was not caring about anything but herself. It's just, I'm very angry still, even though it's been 22 years since. I mean, I don't know. So yeah, this is the story. Tell me please, what do you think about it in the comments below, because it's really important. I really want to see and read, what do you think about it? What is your favorite song of her? What is your favorite moment about her? What do you like about her? And if you never heard about this case, tell me what do you think about it. And I think as long as we listen to her music, as long as we spread the information about her to the people that don't know her, she will live forever. Her music and herself, So if you like this video, just please press subscribe and leave me a like if you enjoyed it. So I wish you to have the greatest day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.